Well, not the preseason we wanted to see, but again, it's preseason. What is up, Finn fans? So the Miami Dolphins have lost to the Atlanta Falcons 19-3. There was some good. There was good. And I got a lot of good to talk about, but there was also bad. And I'm going to talk about the bad. And then tomorrow, I'm also going to make a video kind of diving deeper into this and some things we should worry about and yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. So I'm not going to break down stats on the Falcons and talk about like how, this or that. I'm more going to talk about stats with the Miami Dolphins. So Skylar Thompson did the second half. He was 10 for 16, 104 yards and 2 interceptions. And Mike White was 9 for 14, 85 yards and 1 interception. Now, Myles Gaskin, 7 carries, 57 yards. Eric Uzakoma had 2 end-arounds for 52 yards. Devon Achane, 10 carries for 25 yards. Christopher Brooks, 5 carries for 24 yards. And Skylar Thompson had 2 carries for 10 yards. And then when it comes to the wide receivers, we have Devon Achane leading the group. 4 catches, 41 yards. Elijah Higgins, 2 catches, 36. Myles Gaskin, 2 for 20. Cedric Wilson Jr., 1 for 17. Eric Uzakoma, 3 for 15, and so on and so forth. We had a sack from Channing Tindall. Nice to see him show up. Garrett Nelson, Mitchell Agude, I think that's how I was corrected, and Jalen Twanman. 4 sacks altogether on defense. 5 sacks given up. We're going to talk about that. So overall, right, looking at this game, again, it's preseason. Let me preference that, right? Because while I was live streaming the first half, there was some people who were ready to jump off the bridge after the first quarter. Oh, Vic Fangio's defense sucks, and we're going to be horrible. When nobody was playing. I'm talking nobody to the there was nobody playing as starters. And even some of the backups weren't playing. And people were already like, we suck. We're going to suck forever. We're going to lose. Blah, blah, blah. Take a breath. It's preseason. The whole point of preseason is to see what you have. The whole point of this is to see who works where and who doesn't work where and who's going to get cut and who's not going to get cut. They have 3 weeks to decide that, and they got to go from 90 to 53. So don't look at this as, we lost, we sucked, yada, yada. And don't be triggered by the trolls who are going to say certain things like, oh, wow, you guys only scored 3 points, so you guys ignore it. So, again, it's preseason. That's what preseason's for. That being said, there are some things. I'm going to start with the positives. Devon Achane. Really loved what I saw out of Devon Achane. I love this hard running. I love that even when he got hit with contact, he pushed through it, did really good. I loved Eric Uzakoma's end arounds, big yardage off of that. I think he's going to be a very big piece in this offense. Who else? I love the way that some of these backup defenders were playing. Channing Tindall getting a sack. Garrett Nelson and Agude back-to-back sacks. Really happy with that. What else? At first Mike White marched him down the field, and I was happy with that. See, we're starting to go into the negatives. I don't want to go into the negatives yet. I'm liking what I'm seeing, right? And again, this is second, third stringers and fourth stringers. And I'm liking some of the depth in certain areas, right? The offensive line, for which drive was it? The third offensive drive, they were moving the Falcons defensive line. Getting run after run with Myles Gaskin with the big run. Gaskin was, doing really nice things. He was making nice cuts, broke 47's ankles a few times. I'm really liking the offensive line's push when it came to that, right? So the run game was working at some points. And then it kind of fell apart, right? Mike White had them in the red zone twice, and one time he threw a stupid interception into triple coverage, and then the other time he overthrew a wide open tight end. Both times were fourth and 1, 4th and 2 with an option to get the first down. He even hit, Braxton Berrios was going on a crossing route, and he threw it behind him instead of in front of him, and the defender smacked it out. So we had like 3 different opportunities to get touchdowns. So they should have had at least, it should have been 9-19 or 19-9. Or if we scored, it would have been a little bit different, 19-17. But, him getting us down there and then, not being able to finish reminded me of the Jets versus Vikings last year, where they kicked so many field goals. They didn't score a touchdown. They kicked so many field goals and just constantly marching down the field, and then Mike White couldn't push him in. And then Skylar Thompson, he was off. 2 interceptions. 10 for 16 isn't bad, but and then I mentioned this, right? I mentioned on Twitter, I'm like, I don't feel, as of right now, things could change again. I'm not coming to a determination yet. I'm getting close, but not yet. I do not like the backup quarterback situation at all. I do not like it. And a lot of people are like, how are you going to judge these guys when they don't have the starting offensive line, when they don't have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle? How are you going to judge these guys? Because the talent they're playing against is equal to the talent they have. It's not like they have second and third stringers playing starters. They have second and third stringers playing second and third stringers. And a lot of my problem when I saw this game had nothing to do with who they had around them. It had to do with their throws, and it had to do with the quickness of their decision making. That's where my struggle was. So it didn't matter if Tyreek Hill was on the field or Jalen Waddle or whatever, because he had Braxton Berrios for a touchdown, Mike White, but he threw it behind him instead of in front of him, and the ball got smacked out. It doesn't matter what wide receiver that is, that ball's going to get smacked out. The interception, when he tried to hit Sorbert, it doesn't matter who that receiver is going to be. If you throw that into triple coverage, it's going to be intercepted. So the whole thought process is, how are you going to judge these guys when they don't have the starters around them? Because the things that are worrying me are not based on the talent around them or the talent they're facing. It's based on their decision making. And it's worrying me, right? I thought Skylar Thompson would be a little bit better, actually a lot bit better than he was, because this is his second year in the offense. Mike White, I'll give him a little leeway, not much, because he's not been in this offense before. But the backup quarterback position, just woof. We should have had at least 2 touchdowns before half. The score should have been 14-6 at halftime. Dolphins up. Let me throw some more positives out there. Cam Smith. Now, I haven't heard anything yet. I'll talk about it in tomorrow's video. I'll try to get more information on Cam Smith, because he did get banged up a little bit. I think he kind of pulled his groin and kind of hurt his shoulder. But he was all over the place, smacking the ball out. Makes me feel very comfortable about that. The Vic Fangio defense, right? You see 19-3. One of the 7 of those points was on a kick return for a touchdown. You hold an opposing offense, and again, it's third and fourth stringers, to 13 points. That's good, right? That's good. And there was something, like I said, on the defense, there were some things that I'm like, all right, they're a little sloppy here. They're a little sloppy there. The depth of the defensive line kind of worries me a little bit. You had Godwin, their running back, 13 carries for 70 yards and that touchdown. That kind of worried me a little bit. I even said in the live stream, I'm like, I might want to call up Akeem Hicks or Ndamukong Suh, because that's kind of worrying me a little bit. But I like what Vic Fangio is putting together, and I saw a lot of instances of that, especially in, not a lot of beat you deep plays, right? They had their wide receiver longest target was like 20 yards, 27 yards was their longest target. 27 yards. You weren't beating us deep. and then he would check it down, and then he would swarm the running back or the tight end he would check it down to. I was very happy with that style of defense. But overall, right, it's preseason week 1. I will get a real good understanding of what Dolphin team we have next week against the Houston Texans, because I do expect Tua and a good portion of the starters to at least play a quarter, and then we'll get a good understanding. But right now, the things that worry me is the backup quarterbacks, both of them, the depth at defensive line, the depth at offensive line. I noticed that once Liam Eichenberg and Austin Jackson came out is when the offensive line really started. They marched right down the field in the run game. We had that big run from Myles Gaskin, and we had nice chunk plays down in the red zone. So Liam Eichenberg, he might be an odd man out there. Like I seen some bad things. I was surprised that Emmanuel Ogbah was playing. That surprised me. With the contract he has, he's rolling with the second stringers. That kind of surprised me. But comment below. What did you guys think of this preseason game? And again, let's not jump off the bridge. Let's not freak out. It's preseason week 1. It was second and third stringers and even fourth stringers. Let's take a deep breath. Was it sloppy? Yes, it was very sloppy in some parts. I think the Dolphins actually did pretty good on the penalties. Let me double check that. But I was happy with that aspect of it as well. They had one penalty on the punt return that Braxton Berrios took a big hit on for holding. Time of possession, Dolphins had more time of possessions. Dolphins had more first downs. Dolphins had more passing yards. It's the turnovers. They had 4 turnovers, one of them being a fumble. Need to do better there. Yeah. It was sloppy. Preseason week 1. Sloppy. Got to do better there. Jets are 0-1. New England's 0-1. Miami's 0-1. I think Buffalo's playing tomorrow. But comment below. Let me know, what are your takeaways from this preseason game? I'm very interested to see what you have to say. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. But like usual, stay classy. Offense up.